F1 teams are having a really hard time dealing with the super fast car that McLaren has built in the past few months. The fact that they're the only team who can make their car so much faster without running into the same problems as everyone else is making people suspicious. Team boss Christian Horner was the first person to point fingers at McLaren's car, saying that their different-looking front wing might be the secret behind their huge speed boost. But with famous drivers like Alonso and Hamilton also checking out the car after races, people are wondering, is McLaren really doing something against the rules, or is this all because of their new team setup and hard work behind closed doors? One of the biggest surprises in today's racing world is all about McLaren and how much faster they've made their car compared to where they were in 2022. They went from being a team at the back of the pack, who was just happy to score some points, to now being real challengers at the front thanks to a new team structure and great leadership from Andrea Stella. McLaren has completely turned things around and is now always fighting for wins, actually. The team will probably go into the last 9 races of the season as the clear favorite to beat, because they're the only team on the grid with a car that works well no matter what track they're on, not like Red Bull or Ferrari, who are only fast on certain tracks. But according to Christian Horner, the difference that his closest rivals are making right now is all about one specific part, the front wing, when talking to reporters at Zandvoort, the second race where McLaren brought a huge upgrade package. The British team boss said, "I think the front wing is a key area where others have found some performance. I think the way the front wings are being used is quite different. If you look at the front wing angles of McLaren and Mercedes, they are very, very different from the rest of the grid. McLaren is setting the benchmark now. That is clear in terms of pace, and they've been like that for the past couple of races. However, the upgrade package that McLaren brought to Zandvoort was much more than just their front wing. What should worry Red Bull the most is the rear wing that McLaren's car was equipped with. McLaren has now focused on being efficient and having downforce to make sure the balance between straight-line speed and cornering speed is good, as well as improve the DRS effect, which is basically taking the fight right to Red Bull's home turf. We've seen that once the rear flap opens on Red Bull's car, the speed difference can go up to 30 kilometers per hour, and that's something McLaren is also aiming for on tracks where it would matter the most, like the upcoming race in NZA, even though there are definitely concerns about whether McLaren's car is legal. Horner doesn't seem too worried about the championships. He said, "It's the 4th time this year, only the 4th time, that Max's points lead has gone down. It's only Lando's second win, but we know we have to find performance. So we were 78 points ahead, now we are 70. We want to make sure that we extend the lead, not see it keep getting smaller." It's worth mentioning that Red Bull's team principal has taken quite a defensive position about the whole situation in both championships, which doesn't look good for Red Bull's hopes to continue. Where they left off before Miami, they can't always count on the Verstappen factor. If the car is getting worse and teams like Ferrari and Mercedes manage to get into the mix in the last 9 races, especially on circuits like Baku and Singapore, where Red Bull's car might struggle a lot, while it might sound like a cheap excuse because Red Bull themselves have no idea where they went wrong. They're now trying different setups and car parts for both their drivers. There might be some truth behind Horner's statement because he's not the only one who's suspicious about McLaren's car performance after the race in Zandvoort. We could clearly see Alonso and Hamilton going full detective mode and checking out the car up close, which means they've also been surprised by how much performance the team was able to add to the car in such a short time. What has been normal practice in Formula One is that after 2 full years in the ground effect era, the cars have started to reach a certain limit. Most F1 team executives believe that only small bits of performance could be found here and there, but nothing too big. Now, going from a team that had the fastest car on most races, but only by a small amount, to a dominant 22-second victory over Verstappen, who was clearly driving an experimental version of Red Bull's car, is something that's very hard to understand for F1 teams. This is especially true because they haven't been able to unlock nearly a quarter of what McLaren found in just a short period of time. The path McLaren is on is absolutely amazing, and they've caught up with Red Bull way faster than they originally thought they would. The initial belief was that they could fight with the Austrian team by the end of 2024 and definitely put up a solid fight in 2025 as well. But Stella himself said they were surprised by how well their upgrade package worked and how they were able to continue with their upward curve from there on. Interestingly enough, having the fastest car in the last 10 races has only brought 3 wins to the McLaren team in 2024. 2 of them belong to Norris and 1 to Piastri. That's something that's making F1 fans scratch their heads, wondering why the championships aren't closer than they are now. But according to Andrea Stella, the goal is now to dominate both championships and copy the success that Vettel had in 2013. When talking about this, McLaren's team principal said, "In the Drivers' Championship, we definitely want to focus on the fact that it is possible. We even talked about it and looked at what Vettel did in 2013, and we said we could do the same thing. Why not? We have to keep the focus. We have to believe that it is possible. But whether or not McLaren can do it properly, time will tell. Because if there's one thing for certain on the grid, it's the fact that Red Bull won't let them rest, especially after all the shade that McLaren has thrown toward the Austrian team for breaking the budget cap. Zak Brown has openly admitted that he and Horner cannot be friends due to the rivalry in the sport. To expect that Red Bull's team principal would reply with opposite energy is just plain fantasy. Horner is ready to have a full go at McLaren and do whatever it takes to keep the championship alive in both categories. However, Red Bull's focus is now only on the Drivers' Championship because it's obvious that the 30-point lead they have over McLaren is just a question of when, not if, they're going to get past. Even the 70-point leader Verstappen now faces a real threat from the super dominant car that McLaren has in their hands. When talking about his relationship with Horner, Brown didn't hold back words. McLaren's CEO said, "I've known Christian for about 25 to 30 years. We used to race against each other, and I would say we used to get on. I believe in transparency. I believe in putting your hand up when you get something wrong. The cost cap, the excuses behind that, I never really heard Horner say we just got it wrong. I heard excuses and not taking ownership. When someone breaks the cost cap and doesn't seem to take it seriously, that's kind of hitting the integrity and core of the sport. To me, it's not personal, it's protecting our sport." Horner's response was quite direct and quite personal as well. The British team boss said he won't dignify Brown's criticism with an answer of his own. So, it's now safe to say that they are not the best friends on the grid, and that the battle will continue for the rest of the season with everything these two teams have. Norris will desperately need help from his teammate Piastri. The Aussie could have helped the 2-time race winner a lot if the strategy had been a bit better, and if he managed to get past Leclerc and finish third, then chase Verstappen for second place in Zandvoort. But we all know how competitive this duo can be, and McLaren themselves have recognized the threat of having such a driver pairing. So the team has stated loud and clear that if they ever come across a 50-50th situation, Norris would be the preferred driver in their orders, but only if he proves that he is the clear favorite over Piastri in that particular race. Explaining this, Stella said, "All the favors to the number 1 driver is not a healthy way of running a team. But for every race we analyze the situations, and in the 50-50th situations, or in those cases in which Lando may need a bit of extra support from the team, we are going to give it. But the team includes Oscar. The team should not do things that do not look reasonable to Oscar. We are in this together." With all of this in mind, what do you think about the latest shots that have been thrown from Horner toward McLaren and their front wing? And more importantly, what are your predictions for the rest of 2024? Let us know down in the comments below. And once you've done that, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.